Hi, Lois. So, we're just about here at equinox. The wheel is turning again. And in the seasonal ritual immersion series, we're headed towards restoration of alliance with the wisdom that heals, right? So at solstice, we were with the darkness that knows. In Imbolc, we were with the flame that remembers. Now here in wisdom, in equinox, we're turning towards the wisdom that heals. And so I'm in that right now. And what I wanted to share with you is this considerations around this question. Whatever it is in front of you, whatever it is that's going through you, whatever it is that's opening up in your world or moving in your world, there's a question that I think is important to ask, which is this holy wisdom or is it empty rhetoric? Right? If serving deep feminine sensibility is your desire, if including your hidden sacred, your capacity to draw from an unseen well of wisdom, of ancient knowing, is something that is important to you. If you know that as a woman, there are octaves of being that you can bring to any situation, octaves of depth, octaves of kind of miraculous harmonization, right? If you know that to be true, I know that to be true, then a question that's helpful to take with you everywhere is this question of, is that holy wisdom or empty rhetoric? It's an important one these days. And so I wanted to give you some pro tips for the discerning queen. This is something we work with all the time in her mystery school from the beginning, particularly as we get into the second year of Queen's Command, is, all right, look, what is it to remain on the throne? What is it to really, really claim self-authority and really claim our place as reservoirs, as instruments of holy wisdom in a time, in a culture, in a world where that is extremely rare, actually, right? We are remembering, we are bringing to being into this world something that has been with us for as long as we have existed, for as long as woman has existed. However, it is asking us, we are being asked to be extremely discerning, both within ourselves and in the world around us, with everything that comes in front of us. So in equinox, what we're going to be turning toward are practices around guardian, actually how to cast circle. That's the ritual art we'll work with, right? Because a lot of how we can actually access holy wisdom has to do with the holy pause, the balance point, right? Which is the point of equinox here in the seasonal wheel, where we're directly between, we're hovering, we're paused, we're balanced between winter and summer solstice, right? So we're going to be focusing on this, the pause. What is necessary in terms of guardianship of our own space and mind and sensibilities so that we can, in a moment, often pause, drop, listen, release excess, right? Find where holy wisdom is. She will take a minute, right? She's not this quick rhetoric, this complex, contentious thing. She is simple, holy wisdom that rises up and changes everything, right? But she requires that we make a containment for her, that we come in, listen deeply, pause, and in slow time, we slow down time, we slow down our own everything enough. We cultivate the ability to deeply listen, to empty and receive from a place that's deeper than what we normally associate with. And that's how we can consistently act as, you know, a birth giver of her into the world, right? Giving birth to her, giving articulation, giving voice, giving movement to her with whatever's in front of us on any level. So anyway, I put together, as I'm getting ready for this ritual immersion, I put together some thoughts. Pro tips for the discerning queen, which was just fun for me. But As you're asking the question, is this holy wisdom or empty rhetoric? Because it's not actually always, in a way, it's very simple and easy to tell, but there's a lot of excess in our world right now that is depending on the continuation of a lot of empty rhetoric that just kind of amplifies in complexity, right? And amplifies in coercion, amplifies in complexity. Yeah, so here we go. Pro tips for the discerning queen. Holy wisdom. Holy wisdom mends. She mends the fabric of life. That doesn't mean that she's not fierce. That doesn't mean that she is passive. It doesn't mean that she doesn't create massive change. But her change, her way of changing is to mend, to consolidate, right? To align. That is how she changes the world, right? She does not fracture. She does not disperse. She's a life giver, right? So one of the things to look for, to more than anything, probably to feel for, both in yourself, when you're considering something that's rolling around in you and you think it's really wise and you're really impressed with it, or it's something you really believe in, if you want to be in the process of really even just like discernment on the inner levels of, no, really, but what are you actually becoming a vessel for? You can ask, is this that's moving through me, at least in the way that it's moving through me, is it mending? Is it consolidating? Does it bring alignment to things? Does it restore them to alignment, to their, in a way of, without coercion? Right? Holy wisdom does that. So even as I'm saying it, I'm aware that we have inherited millennia of war culture. And every time the possibility or I speak to the reality of how holy wisdom works, I realize that I'm speaking to this seemingly miraculous thing. We could actually do all this without what we've been taught by war culture. Amazing, revolutionary, miraculous, yes, but also extremely natural and very natural to us, the birth givers and the life keepers, right? The water bearers. So she mends, she consolidates. If you want to know what's in front of you or what's inside of you, if it's really coming from a place of holy wisdom that will realign, bring more potency and more simple power to you and the world around you, pay attention to, is it fracturing? Is it dispersing? Right? Or is it mending? If it's fracturing and dispersing, if it's creating more contention, if it is exacerbating the poisons rather than transmuting them to medicines, it's not that the thing itself is wrong, or that there isn't value, truth, all these things in whatever wants to come out of you or whatever you're in front of. It's just that it probably has a little bit of refinement to go through. You might have some refinement to go through, right? Holy wisdom can speak in one sentence with a level of power and influence and volition towards the good that acres of rhetoric cannot. So, we're talking about potentizing, and we're talking about specificity, right? Alignment, specificity. And I'll stop there because the next one is another one. Okay, so that was one. Holy wisdom mends and consolidates. She does not fracture. She does not disperse. Just as a feeling tone, it can be really helpful to know what you're looking at. She's also very simple. That doesn't mean that life isn't complex, of course it is, but holy wisdom has a way of speaking in a simple voice, bringing complexity, all the contention she distills it to a wisdom that we can actually handle as human beings, that we can actually do something with, that is practical. She's practical. She knows how the world works. She's the mother. She is very much about usefulness. Is this going to help? Or is this just going to generate a bunch more excess, right? So her simplicity is part of the balm of the complexity of human life, right? And also part of where we meet. When we allow her simplicity to come in, we can find the places where we are all her children, where we do all share something simple in common, something simple and core and holy and sacred and deeply human, right? And mending. So another aspect I would say about holy wisdom is that she carries paradise and the sword simultaneously. And what I mean by that is uh, she can simultaneously be so gentle and kind and loving and abundant and carry the sword at the same time. She doesn't need to be one or the other, right? Holy wisdom is very much what we are in our fullness, right? So I'll just give you an example of that because I think it's the easiest way to describe. I went into, there's a hot springs here at the edge of town, and I went into the waters the other day, and something that had been moving around in me is this just different questions, different inquiries around abundance and around kind of the nature of life and abundance and the nature of life and worthiness. And yeah. And so I got in the water, and for me, the water, I have a long history. It's the foundation of a lot of what has come through me. And also what happens for me a lot is, well, not a lot actually, what happens for me when I'm really lucky is that I'll have a moment where she speaks very clearly to me. It's usually unexpected. And the moment I got in the water, and the moment I was fully immersed in the body of the mother in that way, in the warmth, in her embrace, what I heard was, daughter, you are deserving of everything, but you are owed nothing. And when I say to you, for me, that was, for what I was kind of working through in my own being, there was so much in that clarified questions I didn't even realize I was asking, and kind of brought it down to this very basic place of how I relate to life herself, right? How I relate to abundance, to destiny, to injustice, unfairness, how I relate to empowerment, discernment, all these things themselves. And there was a way that in that statement, when I say she carries paradise and the sword simultaneously, there was a way that there was, with, oh, you are deserving of everything. You are the bride of creation. You are the cornucopia. There's such an acknowledgement in there. She knows what we really are. She holds that. You are deserving of everything. Creation wants to shower you with all good things. And you are owed nothing, right? So there's this way that, for me, there was a simultaneity to feeling fully upheld in my true nature, and also being fully called to task around my own entitlements, my own sense of what the world may or may not owe me or owe any of us, right? Given just the nature of how life seems to unfold. And there was something where I felt both fully like filled in, right? And also clarified. Like I had to bow to that and recognize that, yeah. And in my own life, over the past few years especially, there's been a real reckoning with the things that I really took for granted, i.e. being able to easily walk around, or just some basic well-being things that she took away. And there's been this huge, long, deep encounter with that, like, Jumana, but it's all actually a gift. Really, you aren't even owed these things. They are all given. Everything is given. Be gracious. Understand to the heart of it what it is to be gracious, understand to the heart of it what it is to be generous. So that's what I mean when I say she carries paradise and the sword at the same time. She will not cut you down. You know, this thing of criticizing and shaming and cutting people down and kind of needing to make them wrong in order to make you right, this whole thing, that's not how she moves. She doesn't need to. Because she can simultaneously lift somebody up, call them forward into the true nature of what they are, and cut their bullshit away at the same time. And what that does then is it leaves them closer to themselves, closer to their truth, closer to true generosity, right? And true graciousness, for real, without coercion, right? So holy wisdom has that quality to her as well. She does not ever need to denigrate, demean, shame. She does not need to create over psychologized pictures of people. She never needs to make anything wrong in order to stand in the right, because she is truth. She is holy wisdom. She is natural law by her nature. There's no coercion necessary in her, right? So those are a couple of things. I'm going to wrap it up. This goes on and on. A lot of this will be in the equinox immersion. I'll just complete by saying, you know, one of the things that helps me a lot to understand holy wisdom or touch into her is that she's not always the things themselves, right? We think she's the thing. We think we grab on to ideas, or we grab on to ways of being, or we grab on to, you do this because it's right, you don't do this because it's wrong. You know, this kind of person is a good person, this kind of person is not, whatever. However, holy wisdom, you could think of her as just like, she is the one that holds everything. Everything has a place in her. So what she brings forward isn't this kind of, these rigid ideologies of what's right or wrong, what's good, bad, all these things. She brings forward, what is right timing here? What is right proportion here? What is right relationship, therefore, here? And then what is right action that supports all those things, right? Because as you may have noticed, even when we're talking about the good, even when you're talking about all the good things you could do for yourself, or all the ways in which you could grow, or all the, if it becomes something where, if it's not the right time to do that thing, if it's not the right time to do a colon cleanse, it's gonna actually hurt you. It's gonna suck, right? And it's not going to bring what it was meant to bring, right? If it's not the right time to have that conversation, it doesn't matter how valid your points are, how even open and how much this other person wants to hear you. If it's not the right time because of X, Y, and Z, you're going to lose that moment. You're going to lose that connection and that moment to make medicine. Not because it's not the right conversation to have, not because even both parties don't want to have it. It's because it's not the right timing. So one of the things that holy wisdom brings, because she invites us to pause, to contain ourselves, right? She brings our ability, she informs our ability to know right timing, right proportion, right action then, and right relationship. So we're turning towards that when we're turning towards holy wisdom. We're backing away from our rigidity, from our ideas, from our agenda. We have to, because holy wisdom informs. It will inform us if we do, right? Even when our agenda seems so good to us. To have that moment to ask, to surrender, to soften, to let her move through and with what we are wanting to create and do, that is opening to her. That is an alliance with holy wisdom. All right, I'm going to stop there. I leave you with that. I would welcome you and love to have you with me for the equinox immersion. And in the meantime, you know holy wisdom. You recognize her, you feel her, and I fortify you. I invite you, I support you 100% in aligning with her, listening to her, serving her, and trusting her to guide you through all of this that's changing and all of this that we're sorting out together. Blessed be.